Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech. So, let's kick things off with a vision of the future so massive it could completely redefine what a company even is. That's a direct quote from Elon Musk talking about humanoid robots, and it's a bet that is already reshaping not just Tesla, but, whole industries. Today, we are going to connect the dots between three huge trends that are shaping our world right now. You've got this robotics revolution, the massive amount of energy needed to fuel it, and the geopolitical battle for the brains behind it all. Yeah, this isn't just about cool new gadgets. It's a really high-stakes race for the future. All right, here's our game plan. We're going to look at Tesla's huge pivot and the fight for who controls it. Then, we'll dive into the unseen energy engine powering everything. After that, the chip war that could bring it all to a grinding halt. And finally, what this all means for the race to the future. So, let's jump right in.
Okay, first up, how is the world's most famous electric car company basically turning into something else entirely? Seriously, this is a pivot so big, it kind of makes their electric cars look like just the opening act.
This slide really lays it all out. I mean, we all know Tesla for its cars, right? But the company's own story, what they're talking about now, is all about their future in artificial intelligence. We're talking about the Optimus humanoid robot and, of course, the long-promised autonomous cyber taxi. The scale of this whole thing is just staggering. Teardown expert Sandy Munro thinks the Optimus robot could sell for around $125,000. He actually calls it the best return on investment ever. And think about it. He compares that to the cost of human nursing care, which can easily top $100,000 a year, every year. And it's not just about robots that can walk around. The vision for cars that drive themselves is just as powerful. This quote from Monero, it just captures that incredible anticipation, that feeling that for an aging population, this kind of tech just can't get here fast enough. But look, when you make a pivot this radical, it creates a ton of internal tension. It sparks this high-stakes debate. And it's not just about the tech. It's about leadership, about compensation, and about who is really in control of this multi-trillion-dollar vision. This quote from the New York State Comptroller, it just perfectly captures the pushback. The sheer size of Elon Musk's proposed pay package has drawn some really sharp criticism from major investors. They're asking, is this necessary? Is this fair? And this right here gets to the absolute heart of the conflict. On one side, critics see it as just an excessive payday. But for Musk and the board, the argument is, hey, this isn't about personal wealth. It's about locking in enough voting control to guarantee stable leadership through this incredibly risky, multi-decade pivot into AI and robotics. Now, even if you have the clearest vision in the world, a future with millions of robots and AI data centers runs on one thing: power. And that brings us to the real unsung hero of this story, the one piece that could either make this revolution possible or stop it dead in its tracks. So, meet Redwood Materials. A lot of people know them as a battery recycling company, but right now they are speeding up a crucial new business, grid energy storage. They're basically positioning themselves to be a foundational piece of the entire AI infrastructure. And their process? It's pretty ingenious. Instead of just grinding up old car batteries for the raw materials, Redwood is refurbishing them. They're giving them a whole second life as a cheap and super effective solution to one of the biggest bottlenecks for AI, just getting enough electricity. And if you're wondering just how critical this is, all you have to do is look at who's investing. The AI giant NVIDIA is a strategic partner because, as Redwood's founder points out, NVIDIA gets it. They know that having stable, low-cost energy has become the key strategic bottleneck for building the massive AI data centers of the future. Okay, so we've got the vision and we've got the power. But here's the catch. Both are vulnerable to a single geopolitical choke point that could undermine the entire thing: the global semiconductor supply chain. This is where crazy innovation slams right into international power dynamics. So China is in this frantic race to build its own chip industry, to break its reliance on the West. And while it's had some pretty shocking successes, like that advanced chip from Huawei, it's still facing some major hurdles in getting to the absolute cutting edge. The reality on the ground, according to analysts, is that there are three big headwinds. You've got an equipment gap. We're talking foundries using machines that are a decade old. There's a critical know-how gap with talent. And then there's weak pricing power, which just squeezes profits and makes it tough to reinvest. So the big question is, how long will it take to close that gap? Well, some analysts are pretty skeptical. Morningstar's Felix Lee says that for the most critical part of chip making, lithography, China could be 5, maybe even 10 years behind.
But then you have others who see it completely differently. They argue that with the full force of a national priority and a gigantic domestic market, China's self-sufficiency in chips isn't really a question of if, but when. They basically see it as an inevitability. All right, let's bring it all home and see how this all connects into one epic trillion-dollar race. We've talked about the vision, the power source, and the choke point. Now, let's put it all together.
So when you zoom out, you see the future isn't just about one company's shiny new product. It's a massive contest being fought on 3 interconnected fronts: the visionary front, the resource front, and the supremacy front. And here's the thing. Winning on one front means nothing if you don't succeed on the others. Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. As all these forces collide, what's going to ultimately determine the future? Is it the boldest vision for what we can become? The most solid engineering of the infrastructure that powers everything? Or is it the savviest geopolitical strategy that controls the core technology? If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.